Over to the jury president, Amir Kasai, Chief Creative Officer of DDB Worldwide.
Hello everybody. Some general comments about the last 7 days. I think I have to start by saying you probably will witness the greatest film jury of all times, and the reason is very simple. This group of people happen to become a very, very close family in terms of fighting for integrity, fighting for the best ideas, substantial discussions, and trying to really also make a statement in terms of what is the status quo of film in our industry, but also where is film heading. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I wanted to say a big thank you to all the hard work that they did. In general, I think it's a good year. It's actually a great year. And if you look at the results, we are very, very, very happy about how we did it and what we judged and what we found. And it's interesting that you will see a lot of different ways how film is working, and also how technology starts to really, I would say, redefine film. It's a slow trend at the moment, but I think in the next couple of years you will see more and more and more how technology and film will interact with each other and redefine how film should work. But it's still about the most emotional medium that you can have in marketing communication. And it's still amazing to see so many great and new ways of telling a story and communicating a product or talking about a brand. No, it was a great experience, and I think we are very, very proud about the result. And yeah, you will ask specific questions afterwards, so I will stop now.
Would you like to show the first Grand Prix?
Yeah, so we have 2 Grand Prix. We will show you the first one, and I will hand over to my dear jury colleagues, and they will explain a little bit why we thought that they are Grand Prix.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
So I'd just like to talk about why we chose this as a Grand Prix. In the internet film category, there was an extraordinary amount of work, and it was very diverse and an extraordinary amount of very good work as well. Lots of stuff was very spiritual, very emotional. There was lots of great product demos. There was lots of very clever ideas. But what we found with the Grand Prix winner was that it kind of had everything. It had the product really at the heart of the story. It was a fantastic demo, but it was more than that. It was a kind of a spiritual meditation and had a huge kind of emotional punch, as well as kind of deliver all the kind of the product message, which we found kind of really extraordinary. And I think, you know, obviously it's not just confined to our jury's point of view, because this probably has been the most successful piece of film, or certainly the most successful piece of film over the last 12 months.
Susie, should we show the other one? That was the internet film Grand Prix, and this is the BBC Grand Prix.
Well done to you.
Yeah.
Much preparation. Elastic
bags.
Elastic bags from Harvey Nichols, Dad.
Sorry, I spent it on myself. Gift collection.
Yeah, that's what the range is called.
Plastic bag gift set.
Yeah.
Right.
Two. I got two. Oh. I do hope you haven't spent all your precious money on me, naughty boy. Paper clips.
Yeah.
Harvey Nichols.
Yeah. Yeah, they're from Harvey Nichols, so...
Harvey Nichols?
I don't think anyone's ever got anything from Harvey Nichols.
Wow.
It's toothpicks.
Yeah. You love toothpicks. What is it?
¿Qué es esto?
It's a sink plug.
¿Qué es?
A little something for them, a bigger something for you.
I can see on the faces watching that TVC that is the exact reason why we chose it. The humor that comes through and the boldness of that piece from Harvey Nichols. We believe that Cannes gives lines for bravery, for clients to take a big, bold step. And if you look at this in the marketplace, this is from the UK, the holiday selling season, the Christmas selling season is probably the most lucrative time of year for retailers. And to take this tact, to take this strategy to go the other way, where all of their competitors are going down the sale route and trying to push as much merchandise as they possibly can. For this client and this agency to go with the bold strategy and the bold insight and to also convey it in such a human way, to take greed and make people laugh and smile about it, I think is extremely difficult. And as a piece of film, we feel unanimously that it was a perfect piece of film. Cannes is a remarkable thing, and it's really not about budget at the end of the day. It's not about market, because you saw two pieces that were chosen as Grand Prix, one from Sweden, one from the UK. Both very simple in their message and their idea. And we feel like those things and the boldness are the things that we should be rewarding, and the things that we, as a collective jury with all of our clients, push for. Come here.
No, that's... Yeah. I think... Thank you very much, Alan Pete. They summarized very nicely what we think about it. And again, as I said, the overall quality of the work, if you go through the list, is consistent. It shows the way, where we are at the moment, but also where we are going. And again, I still believe, even a lot of people are saying that TV as a medium is dying and you have to look at technology and innovation in a way. I believe film is still the most amazing platform to move people emotionally, to connect to people via brands, and to tell great stories. And as I said, I believe also that film will start to redefine itself using technology in a completely different way, being more interactive in the future, using different screens. But again, at the end of the day, a great story, well executed, which is relevant in the category, will always exist and will be always successful. As Germans are saying, there's a German saying, I don't know if you know that. I'm not German, but I speak German. There's a famous German saying, if there is no mother, there is no baby. So that summarizes everything, I think.
So, do we have some questions from the floor?
Hi, Brian Watson from Shots Magazine. I was just wondering about the Lacoste work and what the jury thought about that.
Which one?
Lacoste, the Big Leap.
We gave it a silver, and we thought it's a very, very powerful piece of film. And we thought actually in our discussions as we came to the silver stage that it will win something in the craft category, because we thought the idea is great but also the execution is exceptional. So I don't know how it did in the other categories. Nothing. Okay, so that's the dynamic of different juries. In our jury we thought it's a good idea, very well executed, also in the category very unusual. But we thought at the end of the day it's a solid piece of silver and it's not a gold.
Any other questions? We have a room full of journalists and no questions.
They are all shocked.
Hi, Ann Diaz from Creativity and Ad Age. Were there any other contenders that kind of rose to the top that became part of the discussion for the Grand Prix?
Yes. In the internet category, we had 3 contenders. So beside the epic split, we had 2 more. One was the first kiss, the viral piece, and the other one was the Sound of Honda. And again, the Sound of Honda also as an example of how you can actually create an idea and tell a story using technology, but capturing it via film and bringing it over so that the people are feeling about it. And it was very, very interesting, and a comment from one of our jury members, Kirk from South Africa, and Pete, who are not really into Formula One. And what they said after they saw the film for the first time, they said, now I get the magic and the soul of Senna and what he did. So I think that is a good example of how you can redefine film. The piece with the first kiss is one of the most viral films of the year, not because it's only viral, because it's a complete different way of telling something and bringing up emotions. And Al explained why Epic Split is the Epic Split. In the TVC category, at the end, we had around 4 to 5 contenders. It was the Nike piece. Maybe Jeremy can talk a little bit about the Nike piece. It's amazing to see how this company and this agency, after 30 years, can start to really translate and communicate this main purpose of the brand in a completely different way on the highest level possible. But Jeremy, maybe can you say something?
Yeah, there was a general feeling that was a really powerful, incredible piece of film, one of the most standout pieces that Nike had done recently, but we also thought it had a great insight at its core, and it was just about that continual betterment of sports people, but more importantly there was that sense of motivation, which is a very spontaneous thing. Nobody almost knows where it kind of comes from, and it's different for everybody, so you know, the motivations for a table tennis player is completely different than a basketball player, really, but the film has knitted all these together in a really, really seamless way. On every level of craft, it just worked really well, from editing to the voiceover to the script to the way it was filmed, and we just felt it had that sense of magic, you know, that a gold winner should have. So that was just a fantastic standout piece. So that was definitely in the frame.
The other one was Old Spice. So Matty, you can maybe a little bit talk about it.
Yeah, there was quite a few in contention. The Mum song from Old Spice, which Old Spice have done some brilliant work over the years, and I thought particularly what it had done there was introduced a slightly new strategy and a new target, and I think it's kind of brave for them. Pete talked about bravery with Harvey Nichols, which is right, but they also were the main shopper for their product would be mums as well, so kind of pastiching them and making fun of them in the ad is kind of funny. Great insight. I think Marco from Italy said that would resonate with Italian mums brilliantly, so that was definitely a contender.
Hi, I'm David Greiner with Adweek magazine. This is maybe controversial. I feel like all week I've been seeing Harvey Nichols come up, and it's a personal thing, obviously everyone's different. I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty funny ad, and it's a pretty interesting merchandising idea, but I've been kind of surprised just how huge it's winning when you have such a volume of incredible work, especially in the film category. So while it's very personal and I'm not trying to defend anyone's selection, I have a feeling that when we write about this, there will be some backlash, people being right, that one's okay. And were there any judges who disagreed with the selection or felt that it maybe wasn't even all that great?
So just to let you know, what I did at the beginning of the jury process, and I don't know if you remember what happened 2 years ago here on the beach. And because of these conversations 2 years ago, Ken started to change the system to make sure that we are keeping and fighting the integrity. So what I said at the first day was, I want this group of people to look at the best work displayed of any country, any network, any agency, or any other political bullshit. And I said to them that I will not vote through the whole process. And if the people are involved in the room, they have to leave the room. So as we started to discuss the Grand Prix, I was in the back of the room, sitting there, and maybe Pete or somebody else can tell how the general sense was about Harvey Nichols.
The truth is, the way we look at it, to answer your question, is our reputation on this choice is on the line. And to say it's okay, I think that we, by our choice, completely disagree with you. That in a lot of ways, and we have no idea what's winning other Grand Prix, and the fact, I guess, that it won, how many other Grand Prix did it win?
It's got 2.
We have no idea what's going on in the other juries. We have no idea what's going on in any of the other rooms. And as Amir said, you know, we're here to pick the best thing for our industry. The thing that we all collectively, and it was pretty unanimous, I think it was unanimous, I don't know, you correct me guys. I think we went back and forth though. It wasn't a 3-minute decision. It wasn't a half-hour decision. It was more like an hour and a half or 2-hour decision where we did go back and forth. And we stayed here late into the night, and I mean, we've been locked in a room for 7 days, and it's not that it's because we don't want to take that decision lightly. It was a unanimous decision at the end of the day. There was no influence from any other outside parties. And we just feel, as I said, I think what the decision we made was to just give it for bravery. And as good as the other golds were, because they're fantastic, I think what we heard in the room constantly, because you get so in the weeds in this process, it's a grueling process. I've done so many other shows, and this is by far the most grueling and professional process. That it is a constant, you are constantly rethinking and whittling down your decisions. And you go back and forth, and we actually all, I believe, we all are conflicted back and forth on our decision. And at the end of the day, when you look at the golds, it's incredibly difficult in the context of the world of marketing and how many pieces of communication are created every year. To win a gold lion is, to win a bronze lion, you should be extremely proud. So I think everything in this show is remarkable. And it's not about a judgment of this is better than that. At the end of the day, we decided that what the statement that we need to make is about taking a brave and bold step, and our industry needs to keep that at the top of its mind. Some things in some categories demand certain irreverence. They demand certain executional styles, and with this piece, I think that they completely, we all think that they flew in the face of convention around holiday advertising. And again, to restate, for a retailer to take their highest selling season and do something like this is remarkably bold, and we wanted to reward that.
And I think, if I can add something to that, I think we should remind all of ourselves what our job is. The job that we have is to try to use our creativity and expertise to solve a client's problem. and not trying to do funky stuff, which is maybe is giving a good impression but doesn't mean anything. So we are judging marketing communication excellence. And this festival is about creative excellence. And if you are looking at stuff and you want to bring it into the context, you should always have in the back of your mind that it's not an art festival. It's about solving marketing problems at the end of the day.
Hando from Best Marketing in Estonia. You gave an award for bravery. Do you know what results actually the campaign had on the Christmas sales of Harvey Nichols? Because speaking of bravery, I remember a couple of years ago Burger King won an award for Whopper Sacrifice for bravery, and actually it did quite a lot of damage for the brand in terms of sales. So do you know what's the situation with Harvey Nichols?
From what I know is that was one of the most successful campaigns of all times in terms of retail market in the UK. Not only the products that they came up, the little products were sold out, but also they had a boost of sales, I think around 10 to 15% during Christmas because of this campaign. And again, but in the film jury, we are not trying to look at it in the context of effectiveness. We are trying to look at it in the context of a brilliant insight, amazingly executed, and relevant for the category. And if the results are there, it's fine, but it will not influence us because we are not a creative effectiveness jury. There is a creative effectiveness, and it will be interesting to see next year how Harvey Nichols will do. And maybe some people will change their minds and realize that they are doing a mistake.
Yes, Javier Piedrahita from Spain, marketingdirector.com. Amir, you are a person you speak normally very clearly to the industry to say what's going well, what's going not so well. No, that's one thing a lot of people like of you, like me. What do you think about this festival? What do you think, what kind of ideas can you give to the festival categories to change some things, to make it better? Possibly, if you can say something, I would like. Thank you.
No, I'm very, very thankful to Phil and the organization, because again, I was one of the guys who was kind of a pain in the ass 2 years ago. And I remember he was calling me and he wanted to kill me that again. No, but I think it was important back then to have this discussion, to remind ourselves that that is the world stage of creative excellence. And we have to make everything that we can do to keep the integrity. And the guys did an amazing job, and I'm not saying it because I'm now sitting here as a jury president. I said it already last year. To build up the system and the process in a way that we are really securing the integrity. So that is amazing. In terms of the category, the film category, I think you will see that they will start to adjust the category because technology will get more and more and more important. And maybe you have to think about having a separate thing for long formats. We had to look at some 80-minute documentaries, amazing pieces of work, but you have to bring them in context to the overall stuff. So maybe it would be a good idea to find a way how you can package them and just show them in a different way. And other than that, I think Cannes should always be about creative excellence, about quality, and not mainly about quantity. So I'm fine at the moment, and again, it's a fight every year for the organization and for all the creative people by the way that they are behaving to prove that that the people can understand how this industry works and why the creativity is the most powerful force in business.
Do we have any last question? No? Okay. In that case, thank you all very much for coming. Your rules apply. I won't go through them again. I'm sure you know them already. I'm going to hand straight over to the jury president, Prasoon Joshi, otherwise known as Mr. Three Jobs, because he's the chairman, CEO, and Chief Creative Officer. I want 3 jobs, Prasoon. And Chief Creative Officer, India and Southeast Asia for McCann, of course. Prasoon.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for, first of all, this great opportunity to lead this crusade, I would say, to find the best work. And also thank you, the jury who's here, like most eminent people and great minds I worked with. So it was a great jury experience. First thing which we think we should take a little credit for, and I suggested on behalf of my jury here, that we separate the titanium and integrated line shortlist. Right from the beginning of judging, we should be very clear what we call titanium. There's been a lot of confusion about the fact what is a titanium and what is integrated. And I think people enter, and I've seen youngsters trying to enter their pieces of work, and they don't seem to have clarity about what is titanium. So we very clearly define it for ourselves. For a lot of people who think that it is about gimmick, it is about stunt, it is about just using a new medium or using a new technology, none of that. Titanium is pushing boundaries. It could be a conventional medium where you're pushing boundaries. It could be through thought-provoking ideas you're pushing boundaries. It's about bending rules, it's about pushing boundaries, and it could be very much in whatever a traditional media allows you, but it has to be that. It has to be pushing that. It has to be creating something new, a paradigm shift in thinking. They say, like, you never step into the same river twice. You never should step into the same idea twice. It shouldn't be something you've seen before. So that was very clear in our head that we'll define it like that and separate titanium and integrate it. And we're very happy that we have something here which meets all our expectations. Also, we wanted to look beyond, not into this new reality where we're presenting cases. Sometimes the real work, you never get to see that, and you see the case which is presented to you, which can be, sometimes an illusion and not the reality. So we were very conscious of the fact that we have to look beyond that. We have to look beyond any gimmick and see the real idea behind and how it worked. So we had something here. I'm very happy to present the first Grand Prix, the Titanium Grand Prix to you, which is Honda, for Honda, Senna. And this idea is really remarkable because in the world of data where we're living, we feel data is very dry, data is very boring. Here is an idea which converts boring data, dry data, into emotional data. It creates kind of emotional energy around it. It connects with you at a human level. It's very difficult to do something like that. Also, simultaneously, it talks about the legacy and the future at the same time. It talks about the history of that company and what the legacy of the company is, and makes it futuristic by using something which is your own property. I think it's an amazing idea which you should have a look at.
Internavi, a navigation system that designs driving experiences with the power of driving data. The roots of this navigation system go back more than 20 years ago to Formula One. Telemetry system, a technology that collects and analyzes data from the accelerator and engine. In the 1980s, Honda introduced this technology to F1 and stormed the world. 1989 F1 Japanese Grand Prix qualifying, Ayrton Senna set the world's fastest lap, proving the power of Honda engineering to the world. This project started from a single sheet of paper. On it was 1 minute 38 seconds 41 of Senna's driving data recorded back in the day. The data was digitally restored and every aspect of his lap analyzed. The engine sound of Senna's F1 machine, McLaren Honda MP45, was recreated by combining Senna's driving data collected back in 1989 with various engine tones of MP45s recorded today. Hundreds of networked speakers and LED lights were placed along the 5,807-meter-long Suzuka circuit. Then the recreated engine sound was played according to the driving data, bringing back Senna's fastest lap from 24 years ago. On the website, everyone could experience Senna race through Suzuka circuit by generating his record-breaking lap with WebGL. Right after its launch, this project became a sensation and was covered by media from Japan, as well as Brazil, Europe, the US, and other regions, with zero PR or media budget. After 24 years, Ayrton Senna is once again in pole position together with Honda.
The second Grand Prix, which is the integrated Grand Prix, is again an idea which we all fell in love with, and we felt universally that this is not only about it's about doing what you preach. It's about changing behaviors. Advertising is not only about just doing ads. It's impacting culture and changing behavior. Here you have Harvey Nichols' idea. I spent it on myself, which is absolutely funny and absolutely unapologetic about what the brand is. It's a very confident sort of a piece of work, which not only communicates the core brand, also expands the way we use advertising. I think another great piece of work which we think we are very proud of. So have a look at that.
Christmas is all about giving, sharing and caring. But at Harvey Nichols, the UK's leading luxury fashion retailer, it's all about me, me, me. To help our customers out, we invented a new line of products for the festive season, the Sorry I Spent It On Myself gift collection. A range of budget presents that we created specially so people could spend less on others and more on themselves. We made the range available at all Harvey Nichols stores across the UK, as well as online. Must-have items included an elastic band gift set, a waterproof sink plug, and a bag of gravel. We even produced a Christmas lunch in a tin and boxes of crackers, complete with hats and jokes, but not gifts or bands, obviously. And for the truly selfish, we created a free downloadable Christmas card. We announced the range to the public with a print campaign and a promotional film that was seeded online.
Christmas lunch in a tin with most of the trimmings.
By the time of the launch, the anticipation was huge. But just to be sure, we released a commercial both online and in cinemas on the day.
Elastic bands.
Elastic bands from Harvey Nichols, Dad.
I do hope you haven't spent all your precious money on me. Naughty boy. Paper clips.
What is it?
It's a sink plug.
The internet went crazy for it. As did the media. Despite only having a fraction of the budget of their competitors, it was the most controversial Christmas campaign of the year. Most importantly of all, the customers loved it too. The entire range, just short of 20,000 products, sold out within 3 days, and Harvey Nichols went on to have one of their best Christmases to date.
These were our great picks, but apart from these, there are a few which, like the titanium winners, which I would like to mention is the autocomplete truth for UN women. That really is another idea which very simple, and it's so today that it shakes you, it jolts you actually. That you type women should, and what Google shows you is what women shouldn't. And which Steve told me, and I had no idea about how Google search works. How it works is that what people are searching the most is what it stores. And when you type, it shows you the behavior and psyche of the collective psyche, of collective consciousness of the society we are living in. So it reflects that. So if you type women should, it shows women shouldn't, which is appalling. And the idea around it and how should change, I think great idea. So I think a lot of ideas this year we found which are extending the profession for human good, trying to extend yourself. And we were very conscious of the fact that our primary job is to sell and we build brands. We should not, we definitely take pride in extending ourselves, but we should at the same time award things which are, trying to do a great job for their brand. So there is a balance, because there is a bias when you talk about a human idea. It always has a bias versus somebody who's doing pure selling. So we were very conscious of the fact that we should not get colored by that. The intent also is very important to us. What is the ultimate intent of the brand? It's a brand trying to build a great future for us, even through selling simple products was very important to us. So both kinds of ideas, we've tried to create a balance between selling and between human good, and I hope we've been able to do that. I would request other juries. Another thing which probably, if you have time, we should do is that the titanium list, we think, the short list, should be called, we are proposing to the organizers here and Phil here, that it should be called not a short list, but a titanium honor list. Because it's all the, and you'll realize yourself when you go through the list of titanium shortlist, they're all worthy, great winners. I mean, if we had more, you know, freedom probably, or we wanted to not restrict it to a few, we would have given all of them a piece of something. So the titanium list is a big deal, and a lot of the jury members here actually want to talk about a few pieces from the shortlist which they think are exceptional pieces of work. So if anybody wants to talk about anything, please please feel free. Yeah? Yes, you want to talk about? Yeah, please. Anything?
Sure. Well, so we gave out 4 titaniums, and maybe I'll just say a quick word about the other 2. The Project Daniel was a beautiful idea where the average prosthetic arm normally costs $15,000, but with a 3D printer and some spools of plastic, villages that have been war-torn were able to create their own prosthetic arms for $100. And what's even better was that the people there were taught how to do it themselves, so after the people who knew the technology left, they could continue to do that. So it's one of those ideas that changes lives and is conscious of doing it in a way that's sustainable and not expensive. So that's another one that got a titanium.
Again, if you're asking a question, please raise your hand, state your name, publication and country. And I do remind you that this is under embargo until after the evening's award ceremony. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce Brian Kamodi, President of the jury.
Good morning. Far too many of you hear it. Buttons, questions or rules? Rattle on. It's been a phenomenal week, a very difficult week in one respect. It's tough sitting in a dark room for 10, 12, 14 hours a day and everybody's having a great time in the sun. But also, we get to see all of the best work from around the world in a week, which is difficult to do, and get to talk about it and figure out within the craft of making what we do, hearing different opinions from some great people from around the world. And I've sat on this jury before, and it's a learning process in any jury to learn about each other and the personalities, but also to decipher what really rises to the top in anything. None of those discussions are easy, and we all pick something up as we go through the process. And I think it's been a fantastic jury. We had our moments where it was tense. We had a lot of laughing and a lot of very, 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 very good discussion. And I think ultimately, when we left the room last night, I think we all felt pretty strongly about our decisions on every level. I definitely would like some other folks to answer that question as well, because I think it's. I feel like we awarded a lot of goals last night, far more than I maybe thought we would have. In so many categories where the work we felt was very, very strong, and when we got down to the discussion about what was the best of the best of the best, there were probably just too many things that were in that zone that left us very undecided. And so you have to come to a comfort level when you walk out of that room with a decision that you are ultimately 100% happy with. and all of the work had arguments for why it could have been the Grand Prix, but then why would you leave the other piece out of the Grand Prix? And I think that's where we came to the decision where when we voted it was unanimous. As many times as we voted about different things and argued for different pieces or the merits of different pieces that were all so strong, and they all had super valid reasons for why they could have been the piece. One of the pieces that rose to the front was a piece that would not be traditionally considered in a craft category in the past. One of the pieces was very traditional and brilliantly made, and in every category that it would have been entered in, it probably would have had a very, very good chance of a strong medal. And one of the other pieces is, you know, an extremely popular piece that everyone's seen, and it would have been easy to go there, but, you know, that was the discussion we had, and I think we had a very fair and balanced opinion over the course of the week. And like I said, when you spend 6 days in a room together, you get to know each other fairly well, and you begin to trust each other, and I think that at the end of the day, I think it was a very fair result.
It was a fantastic concept and an amazing execution, so we decided to give it a go.
That particular piece of work is not only rich as a piece of music itself, but it was an outstanding use of music in that rather than a piece of music acting as a soundtrack, there is nothing wrong with that. It's a great use of music to have a soundtrack. That was a piece of music that was almost the entire idea of the piece. And it was rich musically, but it also was a way of showing that music can be used creatively and innovatively.
Yeah, I think some of the best work, you know, when there were harder decisions during the week, you try to figure out why something is here or something is here, even though there's maybe a very small difference, is what a piece of work makes you feel the first time you see it, or how you experience it multiple times over the course of the week. And there were some pieces of work that really surprised us as we watched it again and again and again, and there are some pieces of work that you see again and again and again that just start to fall off. And this is one of those things that as a group, our response to it was so immediate and without question. It was just an instinctual thing. It's so clever, so simple. It's like someone was in the shower one morning and just was like, oh, boom. It was like, it felt like it was work that had come so simply from somebody in a very clever way, and we thought it was fantastic.
One of the things that I think is especially outstanding about advertising is when you have something in a field where there is a lot of massive budgets, there is a lot of huge special effects, long time lengths, and there's nothing wrong with any of those things. When something can be that outstanding, but it's short, simple, stripped down, assuming that it's not a huge budget, it seems like
Scott, the president of the brand content and entertainment jury.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Needless to say, it's been a long week here in Cannes, and I think a really good one in terms of the branded content and entertainment category here at the Lions, and more importantly, within the industry. Aside me and behind me is really what I believe to be 20 of the best professionals in the industry. A very diverse group representing production, creative agencies, media agencies, traditional media, as well as events, experiential and digital. So really what we're able to do is assemble some of the smartest people in the industry that are pushing the envelope and bringing, if you will, the commerce or business of advertising together with the art of entertainment. And needless to say, when these two worlds come together, as we're seeing in branded content, it is a challenge to really define what is content, if you will, marketing so good that consumers don't know it's marketing. Marketing that is invited by the audience to view versus that of traditional advertising. And really when we set out on this journey several months ago, when we assembled as a jury, it was our job, our goal to bring rigor to this category. In that the category is only 3 years old, we really felt strongly that as a group we wanted to establish what content is, and more importantly, what it is not. And I think that the short list that we've assembled going into our awards, and subsequently the awards that were recognized, coming off of 1,178 pieces of work, 706 of which came to Cannes, really represent that. And with 11 golds and awards across over 12 countries worldwide, we think that it's a very exciting time for the industry in that what we're seeing is a rise in content creation. We're seeing the ability for stories and brand narratives to break through some of the traditional marketing that we all know and love, and really connect with consumers in ways that brands have not connected before. Unfortunately, with all of the great work that did come to Cannes that we have honored, the jury was unable this year to award a Grand Prix. And really for us, what we went through, as I mentioned, with this process of looking at was it exceptional, was it original, did it really have story at the core? What we felt after looking through the 9 golds that qualified within the Grand Prix discussion, what we felt is that there was no one piece that was exceptional, that really displayed all of the craft and the digital and the social and the elements that were necessary to elevate that piece to a Grand Prix. What we did feel, however, is that the 9 golds, or the 11 golds in total, together as a body of work, illuminated to the industry, right, what great work is and what we should all aspire to create within our own agencies, for our clients, and overall at large, in that advertising and entertainment really shape the culture, and through content and the connection of content to culture, we really are able in today's advertising community to create conversation, to drive discussion through social media. And these things combined really create the story that's out there that all of us are participating in. So again, you know, it's unfortunate that we were unable to recognize one piece of work, but what we believe that we achieved here is elevating 11 great pieces around the world that those agencies, those countries, those clients can really be proud of, that they are now beginning to formulate what true branded content and entertainment is. Thank you.
Question, please.
An original screening process to go from 200 to 60, that we gave an additional level of screening. And then we were very pleased to announce the 30 shortlisted entries that have been shared this week in Cannes. And one of the exciting things is that we got to meet all 30 teams came to Cannes to present their concepts. And these were inventors, designers, data scientists, advertising people, client marketing people, architects, software engineers. It's a really eclectic mix, which reflected a wide range of the entries that we're seeing. You know, I'd be happy afterwards to talk about some of the trends we saw, but I think you're probably all here to hear about the winners, so maybe we should just crack on and get to the Grand Prix winner, which is a very exciting winner and a first on several levels. And as you can see in the materials, the Grand Prix winner is Megaface's Pavilion at the Sochi 20th Winter Olympic Games. It's the first Grand Prix won by Russia, and the first Grand Prix won by an architect firm. And I think it's very indicative of the trend that we saw among the entries of the blurring between digital and real experiences, the blurring between marketing communications as a experience and marketing communication becoming a product or a service or a technology, which I think really captures the innovation lions. I think we have an opportunity to share the video. We can talk a little bit after we see what the Grand Prix winner is.
For thousands of years, people have used faces to tell stories. From portrait painting to emoticons of the present day, faces have always been a shorthand for communication. For the Sochi 2014 Winter Olympic Games, Megaphone launched the campaign Create Your Own Olympic History. It encouraged people to make the Olympics a very personal experience with social networks and Megaphone's mobile internet. Megaface's Olympic Pavilion became the perfect culmination to the campaign. Its unique innovation was inspired by the notion of the selfie as a universal tool for communication in the digital age. And it became so much more. With the help of the world's first three-dimensionally actuated large-scale LED screen, thousands of people had a chance to create their own history at the Games. The kinetic facade of the pavilion is formed of 11,000 actuators. Each actuator carried their tip a translucent sphere that contains an RGB LED light. Each actuator acts as one pixel within the entire facade. It extends up to 2 meters to transform the surface in 3 dimensions. The resulting portraits appear in the side of the building as big as 8 by 6 meters, a magnification of 3,500%. To create a selfie, the visitors simply scan their faces in one of the 7 instant 3D photo booths inside of the pavilion. The booths also traveled to 30 cities in Russia to let everyone become the face of the Olympics. And live online video stream at the facade with the link to the personalized 20-second video made sure that no face will be missed. The ultimate selfie was hard not to notice. Epic, innovative. The Megafaces Pavilion took social media by storm, and worldwide television and press coverage resulted in over $12 million of earned media, with Megaphone being the most talked about Olympic partner of the Games.
So a very dramatic, beautiful piece of work. Some of the things that we saw were excellent use of cameras and cutting-edge photography, which is a theme we saw in many entries. How video and cameras are such an important part of expression. Video streaming, being connected and able to stream content immediately. I think good use of social media and integration with your mobile device, and just really a beautiful design, and no doubt aided by the fact that I think it's the first ever Grand Prix won by an architectural firm based in Moscow. The other thing that I would just point out is that I think this Grand Prix winner reached all the goals that we set for ourselves as a jury on how we were going to use our selection criteria. And most of all, we wanted to see breakthrough technology. We wanted to see that there was an idea that could be scaled and was something more than just a one-off execution, of which there are other awards here in Cannes, perhaps, that would be appropriate. And third, in trouble, people remember their third. Third, empowering creativity, and we really think Megafaces does all of that. It's first time we've ever seen anything like this from a technology standpoint. It's we see it scaling, either bigger or larger, and this use of creating a 3D illusion with digital and physical signage, and certainly just this one execution empowered beautiful creativity for the Winter Olympics, but we see a lot of other possibilities. I'm just wondering if anybody else in the jury wanted to add a comment about the Grand Prix winner. David?
I'll take a stab at it. And I would say, let's start historically. Architecture traditionally has been a very static, by design, medium, and it has been considered an architect's goal to become timeless, set in stone. And yet this breaks that barrier entirely and allows architecture to become very dynamic. It allows it to communicate to and from the people on an interactive basis, which we thought had never been done before. So we thought it was a beautiful instantiation of the new dynamism there's now potential in not only outdoor architecture, but if we think of reducing the scale to interior design, lobbies of hotels, theaters, etc., there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, hi. I'll just add in that it's kind of along the same line, but I think there's an important aspect of using this as a new way of expressing creativity, or essentially coming up with a new art form. I think one of the trends we also looked at in the entries was how some of them are creating a new media to express ourselves with. And I think both as you scale this idea up, potentially also scale it down, it may have more usage across many different types of consumer electronics.
I think there were varying opinions, and I think at the end I actually was able to be turned. I felt that the magic behind this, and we used comparisons to technology like IMAX, for example, where way back in the day were massive, blocky, chunky technologies that eventually became so elegant and now massively consumed. And I think this has the possibility over time to become that. We saw that potential ability behind that, and that's what really impressed us.
Also, one thing I think this stood out was we got the jury talking about the possibilities that this might hold in the future, and I think one of the criteria for a Grand Prix is that it really inspires us, and I think this entry had the most impact on how it inspired us creatively to think about things that might happen in the future.
I think also not just from a creativity aspect, but also the technological innovation in actually creating this enormous display was phenomenal in terms of having 11,000 moving parts and hundreds of thousands of components that went together to create this sort of awe-inspiring piece of art was something that really stood out as well. So it was that combination of creative expression, but also sort of breaking the boundaries from a technological perspective that really stood out for the jury.
Let me also announce our other 3 Innovation Line winners today. We're very excited to share with you. On your list, the next on the list is Points, which was designed by Breakfast in New York, and beautiful and captivating and kind of mesmerizing, I think, in its interface. A new digital sign. And interesting that 2 of these would be taking an old medium like signs and doing something fascinating using digital technology. The third is a Fiat Live Store, which was presented by Agencia Click in Sao Paulo, and by Fiat, and by Questo in Sao Paulo. So again, out of our 4 winning entries, 1 is from Russia and 1 is from Brazil. I think that was very interesting and indicative of the really strong showing that the BRICS countries, the entries from Brazil, Russia, India, China, had I think a very large showing in our final deliberation group. And then last but not least, Babolet Play, Babolet, the French tennis company, has along with Ogilvy in Paris, developed a fascinating connected tennis racket that we think has a lot of potential, and certainly reflects the Internet of Things and connected devices, and one of the themes that we saw many times over. So I just think in general, and I maybe let some of my colleagues talk about the range of emotions. There were things that were maybe tearful, and there were things that were funny. There was they had us high and low in the jury room, and also this broad geographic range of work from the U.S., from Europe, from Asia, from Latin America. That was very exciting, especially for an award that's just in its 2nd year, and really the word is just getting out on this award, I think. And one of the other things, before I turn it over, is just the tools. There were a lot of common themes of using robotic elements, robots, video cameras, music, live streaming, and finding, I think, interesting ways to pull all these things together, with many times this theme being this bridge between the real and the digital worlds, and how they can bring things together in a way that I think will be of great service to our industry. So how about, anybody want to jump in on that?
interesting and experience for them and for us as well, because we're coming from so many disciplines, and to ask advertisers about business models or about the supply chain was quite interesting. And for me it was extremely exciting. And as you can see in the list, we really look for practical solutions, and I want to say just a word about points, and which he didn't win the Grand Prix, but an excellent award. And the idea here is that there is a sign in the street, and you can ask them for their, and those are the things that we're trying to find beyond innovation.
I think the only other thing to add was, of the 30 entries that made the shortlist, there was a phenomenally high standard of entries in this award. It was amazing trying to sort of compare the different entries and come up with, you know, even a winner and then a Grand Prix. And what was really interesting was that the way, as Ami mentioned, the different disciplines, that people's background and experience came through, and was able to sort of highlight and talk about some of the positives and some of the negatives about the various entries. But really it was a very difficult process to go through to try and kind of compare and contrast the different entries. But the level of sort of technological and creativity and level of innovation across the board was really, really amazing. It was great to see.
I may have one more comment on the general process we went through. Imagine having to compare apples to oranges to motorcycles to hen's eggs and say which one is best. Very, very difficult. And so, you know, it was a consensus, and what comes out of consensus probably leaves out some amazing companies. I would just like to say that there are a lot of winners that aren't here at the table. And I'd urge each of you, if you're serious about reporting the full story of Cannes, to look at some of these other winners that we couldn't award, but in their own right are amazing. And then the backstory of that is that what Cannes represents to, I think, a lot of us, is a fascinating fusion. And I'll use the American metaphors, but please internationalize it. On the Cannes traditional side, we have Hollywood meets Madison Avenue. In other words, media meets advertising. And then the rest of us come mostly from technology backgrounds, so I'll call that Silicon Valley. So you have these three fusions, Silicon Valley, Madison Avenue, and Hollywood. And they're bringing together two very important things for humanity and for business. From the side of Hollywood and Madison Avenue, an understanding of aesthetics, of passions, human passions, emotions, and loyalty, and consumer behavior. And from technology, incredible new platforms that have never existed before. Social media, mobile technology, cloud, machine learning, big data, Internet of Things, all of which we saw put in play by the contestants that presented to us. And that fusion will drive unlimited new opportunities to not only make great money, but also make things better for people in 196 countries around the world.
And Phil, you may have to change the rules of this jury, because there's several investment proposals floating around. Since 6 of the 8 up here are investors or venture capitalists, we've had our internal debates about who gets to approach whom about making a capital investment. You might want to get in on that action.
Yeah, I think so. I think it might be first come, first served.
As is typical with this audience, with this jury, you've just had a very eloquent description of their process and their judging process and why the winners won. But perhaps there are some questions now for anyone on the jury. Tom?